There are many ways that God can grow a church, and one of the ways that we can do that, I think, is church marketing. But how do you know that that is the path that you should take? In this video, I'm going to share the 3 traits of our clients that have churches that are growing as a result of their marketing efforts in partnership with us, so you can choose the right plan, whether it's with me or with any marketing effort. Whatever you choose to do, if you have these 3 C's, you will know you're on the right path, spend less time doubting yourself and spinning your wheels, and actually make some inroads into your community to spread the gospel and grow your church. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Best Known Church Show, where we show you how to 10x your reach with church marketing that will help you increase your impact, make more disciples, and become the cornerstone of your community again. This is for the leaders with an outrageous vision, because anything less would be an inaccurate reflection of our Creator. The ones who have unreasonable faith, because you know God works unreasonable miracles. And the ones who are relentless in the pursuit of your calling, because anything less would not make a good and faithful servant. If that's you, you're in the right place. Now, please welcome your host and guide on this journey to become the best known organization in your community, Justin Nava.
Welcome to the Best Known Church Show, episode 49. I'm Justin Nava, and if you have not met me, I take full responsibility for that. I'm glad you're here. Wherever you're watching this, give it a thumbs up, give it a good review, or a bad one if you just don't like what I have to say. The point is that you're honest, and that is something that, unfortunately, a lot of pastors who are well-meaning forget to do when we talk to them. See, what we're talking about today is the 3 C's that you need to know that you're on the right path, to have that comfort. I believe these 3 C's come from the Spirit, but I'm going to give them a name so you can identify whether or not you're on the right path. And many pastors, before I adopted these 3 C's as part of my onboarding process, consultation process, and sales process, a lot of pastors weren't sure that what we were going to do or what we laid out was the right plan for them. And what would usually happen is I would be told, hey, that sounds great. We're going to shop around. Hey, I'm not sure about this. Let's pray about it. Or I just need time to maybe consult with a couple other people. None of those were true, by the way, including the prayer one. It's that they didn't have the 3 C's that we're going to talk about today. So, by the way, if you ever jump on a consultation with me or a phone call or just want to learn more about what we can do for you, if you don't have the 3 C's that we're going to talk about today, I'm not going to work with you. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not worth hiring if you don't have these 3 C's. But you can expand upon this. We're talking about church marketing success today, but you can expand upon this to any ministry endeavor. And you can actually be honest. So the reason why pastors don't want to be honest with me is because they don't want to hurt my feelings. You're never going to hurt my feelings, okay? My ministry is for a certain group of people. I understand that. Or my business is for a certain set of churches. It's not a great fit for every church, and I understand that. And so you never have to lie and say, well, let me pray about it. When you know, the answer is no. Just tell me no. And just tell me right there. I mean, that would save us both a lot of time. But it's because they're not committed to actually fixing the problem. They're not clear that this is the actual way to fix a problem, and they're not confident that they have the support or that they're able to implement the solution to the problem. And today the problem is, how do we get more people to know about our church so we can create more connections, which then lead to more relationships, which then lead to more people coming to church, hearing the gospel, being discipled, growing the kingdom, impacting the community. You see how there's a roadmap there. This isn't just about having a website or running a Facebook ad. There is an intentional step-by-step process, which we're going to talk about when we get to C number 2. And so let's get right into it. And this is something that I'm still figuring out myself. I got this from my mentor, but I think it's something that we need to instill in us as church leaders. So let's get right into it. Look, if you're struggling to bring new faces to your church, it might be because you just don't have one thing in your toolbox, okay? And it can feel like you're spinning plates. And I made the mistake of using that metaphor or simile to my 10-year-old because I said, I'm spinning plates. And she's like, what does that mean? And I had to explain, the old timey circus stuff, tricks. They used to have these tall poles and they would spin plates on them and try to keep all the plates spinning. And she's like, what's the point of that? And I said, well, the same point as anything, really. It used to be entertaining for some reason. And so you can feel like you're spinning plates if you don't have commitment to a process. And this is what's lacking in a lot of churches that I see that try good practices, best practices. They try to do what's proven to work, what's worked in the past, what worked for someone else. And even though it should, by all intents and purposes, work for them, they're not committed to either solve the problem or implement the solution wholly. Okay? You can't just read parts of the Bible and say you read the whole Bible. You got to read every word of that Bible to say, like, I have actually gone through the whole Bible. You can't skip Esther because, I don't know, I didn't like reading about the king, so I'm going to skip all that. No. Okay? And in order to implement a framework that's proven, in order to make sure that you have exhausted a strategy or tactic before you can rule out, this just doesn't work for our church, you need to make sure that you are committed to, first of all, solving the problem. Okay. So, weight loss, going to the gym and eating right is not going to work if you're not committed to getting healthier or losing weight or getting stronger. There has to be a commitment, or otherwise you'll find yourself in one of these three problems. Number one, you won't stick with the same strategy. Okay. This comes across all the C's that we're going to talk about today. But if you're not committed to one strategy, you're going to be bouncing around. You're going to be constantly changing. This is something that's very difficult that we constantly do in the church world because we haven't been educated the same way the business world. In order to see results through a process, a framework, or a blueprint or a system, you have to give it 100% commitment. So if you say, we're going to use a Facebook ad, and you run it, and 7 days later you quit it, guys, it takes 7 days for the Facebook ad to learn how to actually serve itself. So that would be like going to college and quitting the freshman orientation week, right? Like you didn't even go to college and you said, college is too hard. You would look at that person and say, you didn't even go to college. You were at orientation week, but you gave up too quick because you launched the Facebook ad and then you're like, well, okay, well, let me go check out what I saw in this YouTube video. I learned about avatars and target audiences. So let's make our target audience. And then you learn about the Google grant. So you don't do anything with the target audience that you just did, and you go and chase the Google grant. And you're trying to apply for this, and you got it, and you don't exactly know what to do with it because you're constantly chasing different strategies, different tactics. And these frequent changes cause frequent issues. So you can't get good at driving if you don't keep driving, if you don't drive every day. So you drive one day, you take the bus another day, you ride the bike another day. I guess I should use riding a bike. That's more relatable. Look, if you have sporadic efforts, you're going to have sporadic results. And unfortunately, those sporadic results will usually be the ones that you don't want. So let's set some steps here and let's check if you're committed. Number one, are you committed to actually seeing the result? A lot of pastors will tell me, I want to bring in another 10, 15 families a month. Okay, to do that, you're going to have to invest this time. You're going to have to invest this energy. You're going to have to invest these resources. And you're going to have to prepare to receive these guests. And you have a plan to receive them. And they don't have any of that. They don't have any money to invest. They don't have any volunteers to invest. They don't have any time to invest. They don't have a welcome assimilation process, whatever you want to call it. And so they have wants, but they're not committed to laying the foundation to see this actually happen. And number two, you have to make sure that anything you commit to needs to be aligned with your vision and mission. Because if it's not mission aligned, if it doesn't help you accomplish your mission, if you buy a website and it's not going to help you make disciples, it's a waste of money. Okay. If you buy a road sign and you cannot connect that road sign, we just have it because everyone has it. Then what's the point? Why would you have that? It's a bad investment. I wonder if it's even legal if you're a nonprofit and you're buying stuff that doesn't align with the mission, right? That's a problem we have with most nonprofits. Let's not make that the church. And then you have to maintain consistency. So if you are committed to the end result, if you are committed to seeing more people come to church, you have to be committed to being consistent in the efforts you try to see more people come to church. And that's why so many churches are stagnant, or they rely on word of mouth, because everything else they don't really try. They just test it, dip a toe in the water, and they never actually go all in. And it's either because they're not committed to the process, which we'll talk about in a second, or they're not committed to the result. You know what? Getting 10 to 15 families it takes a lot of work. And guess what? If you want something you've never had before, you're going to have to do something you've never done before. And if you're not ready to put in the work or put in the investment to see a result you've never had, then you're not really committed. You're just talking platitudes. You might be making yourself feel better, but you're not actually making any kingdom impact. And I don't mean to get so down on this, but this is an honest truth that I believe more church leaders need to hear. Just because you say you're wanting to see something, if you have no action to show for it, if you're not actively committing to seeing a result happen, then you're not actually committed. So don't be like a Peter and say, oh yeah, I'm with it all the way, I'm committed. And then when the going gets tough, you're like, I don't know what this is. I'm denouncing that. Nope, that's not me. Guys, you got to stay committed, right? So that's the first C. And it's a little bit of a two-way street, right? You got to be committed to see the result, and you got to be committed to a process. And that's kind of what the second C is, and that's being clear, okay? Do you ever wonder why you or your ministry or your team is so inconsistent with what they're trying to reach new people? I mean, you can take a look at the fastest growing churches and you will see they have a clear marketing strategy. So why don't you? Why does a church who maybe we feel shouldn't be a church, shouldn't be an establishment, might be a false teacher, false prophet, wolf in sheep's clothing, why are they so effectively reaching people when us doing what we're supposed to do can't seem to get an inroad in the community? Why is surface level church reaching more people than our biblical, faith-based, Christ-centered church? Well, first of all, let's all admit, or let's all get this clear, a true gospel-centered, Christ-centered, people-focused church is just naturally not going to be as popular. Like, I'm not saying we need to be popular as them. We need to be known better than them. It might not be popular, but we need to be known, okay? But if you look at them, they always have, every pastor I talk to of a growing church or a growing ministry, if I ask them, hey, what are you doing to bring new people in to hear what you're saying, okay, or to hear the gospel? I never get a hesitation. And by the way, I never get word of mouth, okay? And I'll tell you why in a second. They always tell me, oh yeah, we're running we've got a plan of action. We story branded, we got our brand script. You know, we hired a consultant for this and he told us to do that. So we did this. And then we're running Facebook ads and we've got quarterly events. And here's what they will sit there and give me their plan because there is a plan. And the stagnant church pastors that I talk to, I say, what are you doing right now to grow your church, to reach new people, to bring people in to hear the gospel? And I hear, oh, well, you know, we just mostly rely on word of mouth and, you know, it's doing pretty good. When the truth is, if it was doing pretty good, we wouldn't be talking in that situation. See, there is problems when you're not clear on the steps you need to take to accomplish your church growth goals. Number one, you might be trying too many things at once. Okay. You ever tried cooking Thanksgiving dinner maybe, or just a special occasion dinner? You've got your main dish in the oven. You've got some sides in the oven. You've got some stuff on the stove. You've got other things in the microwave heating up because you didn't plan it right. And unless you're extremely seasoned like our grandmothers or just extremely talented, something's going to burn, something's going to undercook, or something's going to sit because you cooked it too fast and you didn't quite plan it out right. You've got so many things going on. Hey, listen, some churches can do many things and try many strategies. Yours, if you're like most, can't. You need to focus on one strategy. And not only that, many churches choose complicated plans. If you're a church of 120 or 200, which by the way, this podcast is for, all right, you cannot go with the same plan that a mega church is going with, or even a large church, because they have organizational infrastructure that you don't. So you won't be able to implement the same strategies that they can. You've got to be consistent and clear with something that, you know, you feel is that the path forward. And number three is you probably don't have a clear understanding of what you should be doing. So a lot of pastors will tell me, I need to be doing something marketing wise, but I don't know what that is. And that's a lack of understanding. Like, you know what you need to do, but you don't know how to do it. Okay. So number one, let's fix that. Number one, you got to have a blueprint. Okay. You've got to have a clear point A to point B to point Z roadmap to accomplish what you want to see happen. Okay. Number two, you got to train and get your team on board with that roadmap, that plan of action. Okay. If you're driving the truck this way, someone can't be like, one of the tires can't be pointed that way. You're misaligned. You've got to have everyone focus on the right direction. And so if you are doing real life discipleship, you can't have someone on your team doing the Timothy method, because those strategies, while they have the same end result, it require different structures, different processes, different time, attention, and resources. And you're dividing and conquering instead of advancing. You're dividing instead of advancing and conquering. Okay. And number three, you got to stay on track. We talked about this with commitment. You got to be committed to see the end result happen, and you got to have the clear roadmap, and you got to be committed to that roadmap. This is what the definitive church marketing method was created for, to give local churches a definitive roadmap, a clear roadmap to bring more people into church to be discipled and hear the gospel. Okay. Because listen, you can't go where you can't see. You don't want to be bird boxing it around here, which, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a movie on Netflix. There's some kind of monster, H.P. Lovecraftian monster. And if you see it, you go crazy. So the people that are surviving have blindfolds. Okay. And by the way, it's hard for them in the movie. Okay. You can't navigate where you want to go if you can't see the next steps you should take. So having a clear process, clear plan of action is key to church marketing success. And it doesn't have to be the definitive church marketing method. It could be something else, but you got to be clear. Okay. And the last thing is, you got to be confident. All right. What would it look like? What would life be like if, instead of constantly doubting your efforts, instead of sitting down and writing another Facebook post, and you're like, is this even going to reach anyone? Instead of writing a newsletter, email newsletter, and you're like, is anyone even going to read this? Instead of planning a sermon and thinking, is this going to resonate with anyone? Okay. What if you had a plan that you were confident in, a team, a backstop of support that you knew could help you, even if you don't feel like you can do it yourself? And I get a lot of, hey, we've tried that before, or I've heard that before. Look, I get a lot of that. And the truth is, the reason why you're not confident is because you don't have the right plan. You don't have the right support, right? So if you sit down and write a Facebook post and you're unsure about it, well, what if you had a clear, okay, this is what I need to post on Monday to get people to engage with our church. When you write that newsletter, email newsletter, which, by the way, I don't do, but I can coach you on it, but we want to do it for you. Instead of saying, was anyone going to read this? What if you sat down and you knew the kind of newsletter, the kind of email that would get people to open up, to read, and be inspired to connect with your church? How much more confident would you be to hit that send button every week? And what if, instead of writing a sermon, is this going to relate to anyone? What if you knew the kind of person that your church was well equipped to serve, and you wrote that sermon specifically for that kind of person? So it's not like you're preaching to someone that doesn't speak your language, but you're preaching to someone that God has specifically put in front of you. And you know this because you've done the research. It's part of our Be Clear method, right? So you need to stick with the proven strategy. Okay, something that you know works, not, make us a custom website, because that you don't know if that website's going to work. It's never been made before. It's never been tested. Okay. And number two, you got to know how you're going to measure success. Okay. If I know that I'm going to try something for 90 days and I'm going to measure new guests, and I'm going to measure by putting a Connect card box, how did you hear about us? Right? Friend, family, relative, Google search, Facebook ad. And at the end of 90 days, I'm going to look at all the Connect cards that were turned in and see how many of them said they saw us through a Facebook ad. Okay. And then, by the way, I'm going to take the extra step, because we're the support of looking at verifying. Okay. Well, actually, there's a couple more people that didn't say they came, but actually came. Okay. And I'm going to say, this is how I know what's working. And then the next time I write that Facebook ad, I'm going to know what's going to work. I'm going to be confident. And then number 3, you need the right support. Okay. This is where we come in. We either support you by doing it for you, or we're opening up a coaching program. We'll do it with you and coach you how to do the same processes that we do that helps 10x guests and bring people in and just maximize the influence in the community. But you got to have the right support. Do you have the right plan of action? Are you just trying to read a book and implement it on your own? Because guess what? You're just still trying to figure it out on your own. You haven't really made any progress. The only difference is you spent time reading a book. You still got to figure out how to implement. Or do you have the right support? Like, for example, we want to reach young people. We're going to hire a youth pastor. That's creating your own support. All right. You have to be confident, and confident comes from having the right support system, having the right consistency that you know something is going to work. And so you do it. Okay. That's why I created the Definitive Church Marketing Method, because that is the support system. Me and my team is a support system. All right. And you can have the confidence that it's going to work because it's worked before. And listen, confidence ends up not being a feeling, but it's a byproduct of what's happening in your church. Okay. And don't get confused that the marketing method you choose or the actions you take are what's growing your church. It 100% is God. He's the wind blowing. You're just the one that sets up the sail. And am I going to be more confident in the kind of sail that I set up if I know it's going to catch that wind? Absolutely. So confidence, it's not bad to be confident. It's bad to be self-confident and unrighteously confident. But if you see something working and you become confident that if you do it again, it's going to work again, then it's not a feeling, it's a byproduct. And that's what you want. And it's the same reason why I can tell you that if you want the same website framework that we use to help bring 3 times more guests to church just by changing the homepage, like we have verifiable. I need to get better at showing you our analytics. You will see more people clicking through to your website to learn about your church because they're inspired to see your church. They're inspired to see how they feel understood about how your church can serve them, all from that homepage framework, which, by the way, if you want to get it, go to navachurchwebsite.com. Okay. navachurchwebsite.com. And you can get that same framework. And listen, you can be committed because you're committed to making your website an asset to the church. You're clear that this is going to work for you if you implement the 37 checkpoints on that framework, and you'll be confident that it can work because as soon as you implement it, you'll see your bounce rate go down, meaning the number of people that enter and walk right out the door without doing anything, that'll go down. You'll see the number of people clicking through to plan a visit go up. You'll see the number of people downloading your online guest gift go up. Okay, you'll see it's working and you'll be confident that this is working for you. What else can Nava do for me? You've got your support system. Okay. I lost my notes here. I went on a tear and I misplaced my notes. So let me pull up. Well, it's not going to work. Computer issues. Don't you just love them? I was doing a tech call earlier with a client. So those are the 3 C's. And all this to say, if I jump on a consultation call, and this is honestly killing my business, but it is increasing the kingdom because we're only taking on clients that we know 100% we can help, because the 3 C's work both ways. Okay. The church has to be committed to growing. And I have to be able to see that. I have to be committed to helping them grow and committed that we can help them. Committed that this is going to be a long-term relationship and partnership in ministry. Number 2, our client needs to be clear that this is the path forward. And we have to be clear that this is the path forward for them, that marketing is going to help increase this church's presence in the community. Not every church, that's the way to do it. I consulted with a church a few weeks back and I was like, look, guerrilla's working for you, meaning like boots on the ground, people doing, flesh to flesh ministry, right? That's the strength of this church. If we just market it, it's not going to resonate with the right people. I said, this is not the path for you. And then you got to be confident that this will work. Now, I'm confident it's going to work because by the time we've done our consultation, like I know your church and I know this can help your church because I've probably had a church like yours. And if I'm not confident, I'm going to tell you, hey, I don't know if this is the right plan for you. Maybe we should start somewhere else, or I'll point you in the right direction. And you need to be confident. Our clients are confident. Yeah, this is the path forward, and Nava's the one to do it for me. That's why the agency is named after me, because all of my clients were like, well, we're here because of you, because you know our church. We rely on you. You're our guy, right? And so as I scale this up, I got to use my name. Okay. So that's what you have to have. Now, this is a short episode because there's not much to say on the subject. I'm not doing a how-to or technical stuff. This is all about you and whether you're committed to seeing results, whether your church is committed, because marketing is not going to save a dying church. It can barely save a stagnant church. Your church has to be willing and ready to receive new people. Okay. You have to be clear on the path forward so you're not jumping around and being distracted. And then you have to be confident that this is going to work, because self-doubt, as you know, destroys ministries. So those are the 3 C's to church marketing success. There are really 3 C's to any kind of success. Okay. Are you going to be in a committed relationship? Are you clear that this is the one for you? And are you confident that you're going to be able to serve this person and be with this person for the rest of your life, right? You need that for marriage. All right. Are you committed to cooking a good Thanksgiving dinner? Are you clear on what you need to make and the recipes that you have? And are you confident that this will actually feed your family and create a memory to last, right? Like, you could use these for anything, but specifically, are you committed to growing your church? Are you clear that church marketing, and in my case, the definitive church marketing method, is the path forward? And are you confident that you have the right support systems to make this happen? Those are the 3 C's of church marketing success. If you have anything else that you think that you need for church marketing success, by all means, comment down below, leave a review. Like I said, guys, this is a short episode. I'm not used to doing episodes this short. We're under 30 minutes, but there isn't much to say here, and I don't want to waste your time if there's not much to say, not much else to say, because really you're just going to have to introspect. Look at yourself, look at your ministry, look at your church, and honestly ask yourself, are we willing to do this? Do we believe that this is going to work? And do we have the right support systems? Are we confident that we can do this with the help of others? You get those 3 pillars in place, those 3 C's, I fully believe you'll find success. All right. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Again, like, subscribe, leave a review wherever you're at, and I'll see you guys next week.
That's going to do it for today's episode of the Best Known Church Show with Justin Nava. Be sure to subscribe to stay updated on the latest news, strategies, and resources that you need to reach 10x more people and become the best known in your community. To send us a message or leave a voicemail for Justin to be played on a future show, visit thebestknownchurchshow.com. And if you'd like to work with us so you can focus on your ministry, give us a call at 832-861-7654. Until next time, stay outrageous, unreasonable, and relentless.